Diablo 2 Resurrected is an absolutely spectacular game. I would venture to say it could be the very best remake or remaster of any game of all time. Now, I'm not exactly a video game historian. Maybe I'm a little bit biased, but hey, that's why today I'm going over the 5 greatest changes from Diablo 2 LOD to Diablo 2 Resurrected. Now, the very first one right here is the very first thing that catches your eye, the very first thing you notice, and you can probably guess what that is. That is the absolutely amazing upgrade of graphics. Now, Diablo 2, for its time, I guess, wasn't absolutely terrible, but it was right around the kind of generation when 3D graphics started to get ushered in. So realistically, the graphics weren't even absolutely great for its time. Diablo 2 really showed exactly what is most important about a game. It's not necessarily the graphics, it's the gameplay. It's how the skills work. It's how the itemization is. Now, with that being said, though, Diablo 2 held up for a long time with those old, outdated graphics. And even though graphics aren't the most important thing, you want to play a game with bad graphics or a game with amazing graphics? We'll choose the one with amazing graphics, and that is Diablo 2 Resurrected. Now, a lot of people are even along the opinion that Diablo 2 Resurrected, being several years old now as a remake, are actually even better graphics than the more modern games, ones coming out today. But in my opinion, pretty much everything in this game looks spectacular, whether you're talking about the character models at the very iconic, right off the bat, the first thing you see, the campfire scene, just how spectacular it looks when you first run out into the Bloodmoor, head down into the cave or something like that, whether you're talking about the monsters, whether you're talking about the items, either the way they look on your character or the way that the items look in your inventory. The graphics looking so good, they even added an option to go ahead and, of course, zoom in so you can admire the characters and everything you can see on the screen even more. Number 2 on this list, we're going to be talking about skill balancing, and a lot like several of the categories on this list, I couldn't possibly go over all of them. There's too many. This would be like a 74-hour video, but we're going to talk about a couple of them right here. One such boost that absolutely made a build, and that's the thing, a lot of these skills actually made builds viable or absolutely great. We're talking about the summons for the Summon Druid. Now, they rebalanced some of the synergies for these, adding a bunch of life to them so they could actually survive in hell difficulty, and adding damage so they can actually take a thing or two out for you. I don't know if this other change is technically considered a rebalance, but they made it possible so you can summon up a bunch of different animals instead of just having the one. This way you could actually functionally have what they refer to now as the Zoo Druid, because you have so many animals running around everywhere. Another such one is the Fist of the Heavens Paladin build. Now, they changed a couple of the synergies, whether it was to the Fist of the Heavens or the Holy Bolt synergy, adding to the damage of the actual Holy Bolts that you shot out. This extra damage actually making this skill able to kill those higher level monsters in hell difficulty. On top of that, once again, I don't know if this is technically falling into the rebalancing, but I'm going to say it is. And that's when they changed the Holy Bolts to not only dealing damage to undead, but also undead and demons. Now, as for undead, what is it? I'm going to guess here maybe a third of the monsters in the game. But when you throw into demons, I would say at least half, if not a little bit over that, a majority of monsters in the game are actually demons. So the undead and demon combined is probably 85% of monsters in the game. And that is actually including things like the act bosses. Now, there's way more, whether it's the skills for the Fire Druid, whether it's something like Fire Wall or Frost Nova for the sorceress. But like I said, there's way too many skill balancing changes to go over and way too many different builds that are now possible to use in hell difficulty farming. Next up is one that had a wide ranging of consequences, whether it was making some other builds that were good even better, or making builds actually viable that weren't before, or kind of opening up areas or making them easier to go ahead and farm. And that is the different bug fixes that they did from D2 LOD to Diablo 2 Resurrected. The trend continues that there's way too many for me to go ahead and mention them all, but one such instance is, you remember going and farming the keys from Neolithek that you needed to go ahead and farm Ubers? Then all of a sudden you'd come across one of these snakes. They would shoot you with the poison and boom, you were done, son. This is because there used to be a bug where, for whatever reason, these snakes' poison damage, instead of applying over however many seconds it was, I don't know if it was 5, 10, 20 even, all of the damage applied instantaneously, which is not the way poison's intended. Usually it has a massive amount of damage, but it slowly hits you over time, 10, 15, 20 seconds. Now, with that bug fixed, it made farming these keys from Neolithek more around the way that it was intended, a little bit easier, as long as you don't get hit with that corpse explosion. Now, just one more bug fix here we'll mention is how minus damage, like on your character, on your weapons, applied to a bunch of different things in the game, but more specifically, we'll talk about how it applied to actually traps in the game for the assassin. Now, because those traps were considered minions, the minus resistance that would apply to the monsters would not affect the damage that came from minions, only from your exact character. That did not seem the way it was intended, so that bug got corrected, opening up builds like, we'll say something like the Fire Trap Assassin, or making the Lightning Trap Assassin even better. So a lot of different little bug fixes like that in concert with the skill balancing changes and things like that really made a lot of other builds really fun and really good to play. Another thing that opened up some more builds or made some even better were either changes to runewords that already existed in Diablo 2 or the addition of new runewords to Diablo 2 Resurrected. Once again, just a couple of examples, we'll say, for things that are changed. They didn't make some drastic, wide sweeping change to a ton of the different runewords, but they did do things such as adding bases that you can go ahead and make in something like an insight. It used to be you could only make it in polearms, but then they went ahead and added so you can make it into bows now. Now, what consequence did that have? Well, when you're super early on, your Act 2 mercenary can't survive. He charges in like
we usually do.
All right, thumbs up.
Ready, guys?
Let's do this. Leroy Jenkins.
But if you go ahead and make your insight in a bow, you get that meditation aura to keep your mana up. And the Act 1 mercenary, which is a bow mercenary, actually has a different type of like playstyle AI essentially, to where she kind of tries to stay back a little bit more and kind of tries to keep from getting hit. That can be a way of perhaps, keeping your insight, up and available, keeping the meditation aura up more often. Or another way, they added to the infinity, you used to be only pole arms as well, but now you can go ahead and make it in spears too. So that allows you to do things like make your infinity in an Amazon specific, class specific type of item, or go ahead and make your infinity in, I don't know, an ethereal man catcher, for instance. Now, as for a couple of rune words they added, hey, how about something like the Flickering Flame that has minus fire res on it? So it's kind of a pretty dang good option for those fire builds in the game. They got some other ones like the Wisdom Helm, which gives your character Pierce. There really wasn't a lot of options to get Pierce on a character outside of a Razor Tail until they added this one. And many more things like the Cure Helm and the Bulwark for the Act 2 Mercenary. And I could go on and on. Not every single rune word they made was super great. Not all of them are still used. I think if they erred on the side of not making a rune word way too overpowered, it's better to add ones in that maybe ended up not getting used instead of absolutely breaking the game and adding absolutely broken builds in with these rune words, which is what happened with one tiny, complete abomination. But we'll talk about that one in a different video. For number 5 here, we're going to talk about one that, in my opinion, is a great change, but also is kind of a little bit of a bad change that we'll talk about in a different video along with that stinky little rune word. And this is talking about the addition of Terror Zones, but specifically the best change is just having a better way to get up to level 99 other than the old method. Pretty much before, the only way to get a guy to 99 before is you pretty much had to have a full team working towards getting one guy to 99. They would go in and pop all the seals in the Chaos Sanctuary, so Diablo would pop up. That one guy would then join the game, kill Diablo, and then hop into the next game where someone had already cleared, popped all the seals, and he would take out Diablo again. Now, the reason for this is because if the monsters are too far below your level, your character gets almost no experience. You get a tiny little bit, a teeny tiny, but it's absolutely no amount that you would actually even notice. Diablo being level 94, he's one of like 3 monsters in the entire game that would give you good experience. But now with Terror Zones, the level of the area actually scales up with the character's level who made the game. That way, you're level 93, you got a level 93 Terror Zone, and this will scale all the way up to level 96. So the monsters in the area are always high enough level to give you at least a good, reasonable amount of experience. Now, before, I would have never, ever, ever thought of actually attempting to get to 99 because it was such nonsense. It was just so ridiculous to do. But now, with Terror Zones, just going out and farming and hitting the Terror Zone sometimes, there's been a few occasions on offline single player. I have a level 99 Sorceress right now, and I'm about to go ahead and have a level 99 Paladin. And this is kind of by complete accident. I was just farming, magic finding, hunting gear, hunting runes in Terror Zones, looked over and hey, I'm almost to 99. And I think that is kind of way better if you just go out and play the game the way it's intended, and then eventually you just kind of get up to that level. So in this instance, the way to get to 99 has been a vast improvement. So feel free to expand on any of this list, whether it's adding another category or talking about rune word skill balances or bug fixes that I didn't talk about here in this video. Make sure you subscribe up if you're new and hit the like button before you go, and check this video out right up over here. I know you're gonna love it.